सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमामस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गरुडपदं महान्तं गोविन्द योगीन्द्रमथासु शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथासु पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यानस्मद्गुरुं सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। यत्साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दं प्रत्यगद्वयमक्रियं तन्नमामि योगिगम्यं परं पदं कालिलाग्नित्वरितं सर्पणीयोद्गतं यतः ध्वान्तच्छिदेन मस्तस्मै हरये बुद्धिसाक्षिणे। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Okay. We have here it or not प्रतिपत्ति दृष्टान्त भिन्नस्य इति स्यादेकत्र चेत्य सत्यपि द्वितीयार्थे सोमशानुपिता. I don't know why the pages went back here. Yeah, दृश्यैः शब्दादिभिः अनुरक्तम्. So we are looking at the 53rd verse where 52nd said सुभ्रू सुनासा सुमुखी सुनेत्रा चारुहासिनी कल्पना मात्र सम्मोहात् रामे इत्यालिंगते शुचिम. So the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Similarly, all the drishya kalpana does not make it as drishya dharma. Similarly, any kalpana in anything does not make it valid, make it real. This is the idea here, and thereby यदुक्तम अहम तदुभयं बिभ्रत भ्रांतिमात्मनि यच्छति इति तत् प्रपंचयितुमाह सर्वस्य इति. The next verse introduction said the ahankara which has been mentioned to be the reason for bhranti, delusion in atma with respect to atma. Atmani yachyati, atmani vishaye, atmani adhikarane, vishay also. Vishay saptami is better. With respect to atma, there is delusion. Who brings that about? So ahankara. Ahankara brings it about. So tad ubhayam bibrat. Drashtru and drishya dharma, rather drishyatva and drashtutvam is strengthened. The idea, the notion itself is, as a bija it is, as a seed it is sown. And then further strengthened. And while strengthening it, vibrat, nourishing both of those drashta and drishya, with respect to atma, ahankara causes delusion. Iti tat prapanchetum aha. We had seen the 53rd verse also, I think. 53rd verse was said what? Drishyanuraktam, and thereby there is a sangati, I think, yeah. Sangati sarvasya iti. So sarvasya anarthajatasya jihasitasya moolam ahankara eva. So tyaktum ichit ishtasya. Tyaktum ishtasya sarvasya anarthajatasya. The anarthajata, anartha samuha, adversities are not desirable. They are desired to be given up. So those which are desired to be given up, the entire set, their moola is ahankara. And we have seen again and again, ahankara here means ajnana janya ahankara. Ajnana is the root cause. Ahankara is the first identifiable cause. First, first cause which can be known in Jagrata Avastha as manifest. Tasya atmana, tasya, last time also flipping the page I had trouble. Yeah, so tasya atma anatma uparagat. Due to the uparaga, the tainting by atma and anatma. Atma sambandha, anatma sambandha, this is what has brought about ahankara, and that ahankara which is now colored with some drishyatva, some drashtritva. Ahankara has atma tattva also, anatma tattva, the unholy mix. That mishrana is the cause. Natu parmarthata atmanaha avidyaya tat karenava sambandho abhut asti bhavishyati va. There is no sambandha. In reality, it wasn't there, it won't be there, and it is not there even now. And then tasya अपरिलुप्त दृष्टि स्वाभाव्या दृश्यानुक्तम तद्दृष्टु दृश्यम द्रष्टुर अनुरंजितम अहम वृत्त्या उभयम रक्तम तन्नाशे अद्वैतता आत्मनः. See, we had seen the verse. I was not sure. So long sambandhokti also, but no tika on that. Only on the after the end of the verse, the tika continues. So drishya anuraktam tadrashtu. Subject is a subject due to object, and object is an object due to subject. So tainted, both are tainted by each other, or both are made to come to life. They come to life. They are made to, they are caused to come to life because of the other. Subject due to the object, object due to the subject. Aham vrittya ubhayam raktam. And with the ahankara, which is an unholy mix of these two, it is, so ubhayam raktam. Both are also strengthened and tainted by ahankara. Ahankara gives them life further. Ahankara itself, having come to life because of these two, now strengthens them. So it's a vicious circle, if at all it can be called as a circle. Tannashe advaitata atmanah. Atmana advaitata kada bhavati tannashe. Aham vritti nasha. When ahankara does not come up as an individuality, but atma remains as atma. In atma, there is no individuality. That's when atma becomes advitiya. Becomes in the as though. It is already advitiya. But advaitata atmanah kada bhavati. The status of being known as one. Not only one, being known as one. So advaitata, here advaitata is in the sense of jnatata. Advaita jnatata. Not advaita only. Knowing advaita as known. Further in the tika, drishyaihi shabdadibhi anuraktam, meaning what? Sambaddham. Anuraktam is sambaddham here. Connected with the shabdadi drishya, shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha, which are drishya objects. Sat, sambaddham sat, antakaranam, swatmani pratibimbita chaitanya abhasat tesham drashtru bhavati. So with this sambandha, whose sambandha with whom? Here you look at it. Antakaranam. Antakarana being connected with drishya. Antakarana is also really drishya. But antakarana, while being connected with drishya, antakaranam what? Swatmani pratibimbita chaitanya abhasat. Not only antakarana where in itself there is pratibimba of chaitanya. Thereby tesham drashturbhavati. Who becomes the drashta? Not chaitanya really. Due to the chaitanya abhasa, the antakarana becomes drashta. That's why we say drashta is who? Drashta pramata is antakarana upahita chaitanya vishishta really. Antakarana vishishta chaitanya. In the antakarana there is aham vritti, and this vritti causes the chaitanya which is already reflected in the antakarana, now being reflected in pratibimbita in what? In aham vritti. That aham vritti comes to life as though, as aham, as I, individual. And thereby what? Now this antakarana being connected with the drishya padartha, this aham vritti with the chaitanya, the abhasa of the chaitanya, makes a claim of what? Now I am drashta. Now I am drashta. Only when there is a drishya padartha. When there is no drishya padartha, not a drashta also. When there is a shabda to be heard, that time shrota, aham shrota. Aham vritti itself, their aham vritti gets the shape of what? Aham shrota. That is antakarana, not atma. But with the atma, chaitanya phalita there. Phalita meaning chaitanya abhasa taking place. Otherwise, antakarana is jada. Aham vritti is also jada. Being antakarana, antakarana parinama, modification of antakarana. So here further what? Tadeva cha drashtratma chaitanya anuranjitam sat. Tadeva kim? Antakaranam. Tadeva antakaranam cha drashtra atma chaitanya anuranjitam sat. tasya chaitanyasya drishyam avabhasyam bhavati. And other way around also, that very antakarana drashtaratmana chaitanya anuranjitam, now colored by the drashtaratma chaitanya, being so sat, tasya chaitanyasya drishyam becomes the drishya of the chaitanya. That very antakarana, no? Antakarana itself becomes drishya. Antakarana, which was now with aham vritti, was drashta of the drishya shabdadi outside. Shabda sparsha rupa rasagandha. This very antakarana, which was drashta, now becomes drishya of the chaitanya. And that's how I know aham drashta. How do I know? Aham drashta, that drashtritva in the antakarana is objectified by me. Aham drashta iti aham janami. How? By chaitanya becoming the drishya of the chaitanya, antakarana itself. Avabhasyam bhavati. So it becomes an object really. Chaitanyena avabhasyam. Chaitanyasya avabhasyam. Chaitanyena avabhasyam. By the very chaitanya, it is drishya. For the chaitanya otherwise. Shashti here is for the chaitanya. Tadevam uktanyayena aham vritya ubhayam api drashta drishyam cha etad. So who is really drashta? Antakarana. Who is the drishya? Antakarana. Antakarana is the drishya. Antakarana is the drashta also. Of course, with respect to, you have to change. With respect to the Shabdadi Prapancha, Antakarana is drashta. Of course, with Chaitanya, Pratibimba being there. And with respect to the Shakshi, Chaitanya, Antakarana is drishya. So Antakarana itself is drashta as well as drishya. With different vrittis there. Tadevam uktanyayana aham vritya ubhayam api drashta drishyam cha iti etat. Cha iti cha chet cha iti etad. Aham vritya. The aham vritti, how does it strengthen both of these, or basically, taint the color the drashta and drishya? The same antakarana is being colored. Chaitanya Amsha in the aham vritti, for that it is drishya. And Chaitanya Amsha, which makes the aham vritti come to life, makes it drashta also. Thereby it's drashta also, drishya also. And thereby aham vritya ubhayam api drashta drishyam chaityetad anuraktam. Aham vritya anuraktam. In this manner, aham vritya ubhayam api, who is that drashta as well as drishyam? Chaitadev antakaraneva anuraktam aham idam janami iti. Then you know that aham idam janami. Without the Chaitanya, it is not possible, but Chaitanya is still asanga. In its presence, everything is happening, but Chaitanya has no connection, real connection. But aham idam janami is what? That ahankara itself. That very ahankara takes the role of drishya also, and while being drishya of Chaitanya, it becomes drashta of everything else. Tena atyanta viviktayoho sambandha hetuhu ahankara eka eva iti tan nivruttau atmanah advaitatvam yuktam ityartah. Therefore, although ajnana is there in Shushupti also, but still it is not causing samsarana at that time. It is at rest. Samsara bija is there, but samsarana is not taking place then. Only in Swapna and Jagrata Avastha samsarana is there, especially in Jagrata. Samsarana is there. Therefore, he says ahankara, which comes up in Swapna and Jagrata, that is this identifiable cause. For the waker, this is what seems to be the cause. You cannot do root cause analysis beyond this unless Shastra tells you ahankara is due to ajnana. Also, logically also, all this analysis is what? It is viveka. It leads to jnana. And jnana takes away this misunderstanding. Therefore also ajnana. Ahankara is the cause of this samsarana. All this analysis that ahankara makes the same antakarana as drishya and drashta. Atma is not really drashta or drishya. This is all analysis which leads to jnana. And jnana has only one rule. It cannot do anything more. Jnana can take away ajnana. Therefore also, even if the Shruti, Shastra does not say, with tarka, with logic, with manana, with viveka, we have landed on ahankara being the cause of samsarana means what? Ajnana is the cause for samsara. That's what it means. Because jnana cannot take away ahankara. Jnana can take away the cause, ajnana, not ahankara. Ahankara is not ajnana. Ahankara is manifest ajnana already, but it is not ajnana. Therefore, ahankara cannot be taken away by jnana directly. Only by ajnana nasha, ahankara nasha. Therefore, ajnana is the root cause. Even with tarka, you can know this. So, those who misunderstand taking, some statement of Bhagavan Bhashyakara out of context, or one out of the four statements in Adhyasa Bhashya, this is Adhyasa, Ajnana and Adhyasa are one. That is Gauna Prayoga. It is not Mukhya Samanadhikaran. Karya can be called as Karana, Karana can be called as Karya. You have to see where is Gauna Prayoga. This needs Purvamimamsa Abhyasa. So some commentator has made mistakes there. It is very clear through and through. They think that, this Ajnana as cause has been said by Vyakhyanakaras. It is not true. You'll see here in the Mula also, even Sureshwaracharya Bhagavan talks about this. Ajnana, Uttha, etc. Ajnana. All these words mean Ajnana Karya only, Ahankara. Anyway, I keep on repeating this because this idea, unfortunately, is coming to life again and again with Western scholars trying to, validate this idea that Vyakyanakaras have, gone against the Bhashya. That is not true. So many Vyakyanakaras cannot be wrong. Some one Tom, Dick and Harry, one of these people, comes up and says that the entire Sampradaya is wrong, does not make it so. Moksha is due to that very Sampradaya. You cannot disrespect it in such a manner, you benefit nothing. You can get multiple PhDs, that's all. So you see a lot of these PhD theses going on, those who are active in the field. So anuraktam ahamidam janamiti tena atyanta viviktayo sambandha hetu ahankara. What should otherwise be separate completely? Asanga Atma has to be Asanga only all the time. That's why Swarupata Asanga. And Anatma, which is with a Nai for Atma. Na Atma iti Anatma, they are Atyanta Vivikta. How can there be Sambandha, Sangha between them? So that Sambandha Hetu is Ahankara. Ahankara again what? Ajnana. But manifests as Ahankara. What cannot be combined has been combined due to Ahankara alone. Therefore, Tannivruttau means what? Ahankara Nivruttau. Atmana Advaitatvam Yuktam Ityartha. And just taking away this individuality out of this entire samsarana, mukti is the resultant. Advaitatvam means what? Atmana Advaitatvam itself is mukti. Advaitatvam Yuktam means what? It is tenable. That knowledge is the cause for mukti. This is the 53rd verse. Further, Tika, अनात्मत्वे अपि अहंकारस्य अहम ब्रह्मास्मि इत्यादौ तद्वाचकपदस्य प्रत्यगात्मनि वृत्तिम आक्षेपपूर्वकं दर्शयति. So we started off with what? Mamaham janami. Purvapakshi said this Mamaham janami, although it is refuted by you as what? That aham is sakshi and mam is ahankara. Both are not the same I. Although Mam and Aham both are of the Asmat only, but they are two different Asmats. One is Ahankara, Mam, and the other is Sakshi Chaitanya, who is Aham there. Then Purvapakshi said what? Then he said, he had given another praman also, not only Mahamaham Janami. He says Shruti also, not only Laukika Anubhava. He says, in Shruti also, your entire Vedanta works on Aham Brahmasmi Ityadi Mahavakya. There, Aham and Brahma cannot have Samanadikarani if Ahankara means, Aham means Ahankara. If Aham means Ahankara, where Mahamaham Janami, if both are not one, you cannot have equation which says Ahankara is Brahma. You can never have. This is the akshepa which is elaborated, and then this will be refuted as to how aham brahmasmi equation works. Anatmatve api ahankarasya aham brahmasmi iti. Purvapakshi says this ahankara is anatma, and you say aham is in that sense mam. Mam aham janami, there mam, which is aham, that aham is ahankara. That ahankara, even if it is anatma, meaning it is not atma. You said aham, ahankara is not atma, atma dharma, so ahankara is separate. Purvapakshi says, even so, even if ahankara is not atma, you have logically proven, even then he says aham brahmasmi ityadu. In those mahavakyas where aham and brahma are in samanadikaranya, ityadu tadvachaka padasya. Tat is aham vachaka pada, tvam pada in tattvamasi, aham pada in aham brahmasmi. That tadvachaka aham padasya pratyagatmani vrittim akshepa purvakam darshayati. Still Siddhanti says, even if it is anatma, not purvapakshi, because akshepa purvakam darshayati kaha Siddhanti. So Siddhanti anatmatve api ahankarasya. Even how will this work? Because he is going to ask, purvapakshi says, if ahankara is the meaning of aham shabda, then how will aham brahmasmi work? Siddhanti says, even if ahankara is anatma, still aham brahmasmi will work. Tadvachaka padasya pratyagatmani vrittim. This aham pada, it means ahankara, but not only ahankara. In aham brahmasmi, it is not ahankara only. We have already explained. That's why this entire setup earlier of, drishya anuraktam tadrashtu drishyam drashtru anuranjitam. Aham vritya ubhayam raktam. So the focus is on aham vritti. Ahankara is what? Is that which keeps both alive, drishya and drashta, and ahankara itself is what? It has come up with atma anatma sambandha, which should not be possible. That's why the ending line in the Tika was what? It said, Tena atyanta viviktayo atma anatmano. Atma and anatma are atyanta vivikta. They are so different in every aspect, opposed in every aspect, they cannot be having any sambandha. Not possible. So hetu is ahankara. This ahankara which has the chaitanya component, atma component, as well as anatma component, that pratibimbita ahankara, aham vritti, that alone makes all this possible. Ajnana karyatvena. So that ahankara is the one which makes or breaks, right? So with that in mind, this ahankara is not only ahankara now. Ahankara is with chaitanya ansha as well as the anatma ansha. So atma, anatma ansha, both are there in ahankara. That is the shape of the ahankara. Ahankara akara is atma, anatma mishrita. So here, thereby Siddhanti says, this ahankara we have explained in Mam aham janami as the vachak of mam pada there. The mam aham pada, we cannot say mam pada, mam iti. Mam iti, which pada is there, that mam is also asmat aham, but it is ahankara. That ahankara there, although it is mishrita, but ahankara there means antakarana vritti, which is lit up by the sakshi aham in mam aham janami. But in aham brahmasmi, this aham is not ahankara without chaitanya. Ahankara, there is not drishya there. In mam aham janami, which component are you looking at? You are looking at it as ahankara, aham vritti. But in the case of, because janantam mam janami, drishyantam mam janami, pashyami, otherwise, in these ideas, ahankara part there in mam or drishyantam mam, Pashyantam mam. Sorry, not drishyantam. Pashyantam mam. Pashyantam mam. Shatranta. One is seeing me. I am seeing the seeing me. Or janantam mam. One who knows that knowing me. Knowing is a visheshana there. To me. That kind of me, I am seeing, I am knowing. I know the knowing me. I know the knower me. There, this antakarana is being an object as aham, ahamkara. In the vakya, mam aham janami, there that mam pada. In the case of aham brahmasmi, we need both. Siddhanti says that ahankara is not shuddha jada. It is jada and ajada mishrita, which is its very akara. That aham is there in aham brahmasmi or tattvamasi mahavakya. That tvam means both the antakarana and the chaitanya mix up. Atma anatma mix up, who is called as jiva, who is a samsari in the tattvamasi mahavakya shveta ketu. Then anyone who hears this tattvamasi mahavakya understands that aham brahmasmi, or who is taught as aham brahmasmi. That aham there means jiva who has chaitanya as well as achetana ansha. Chetana achetana, atma anatma ansha. So here you have to do lakshana. It is not antakarana alone. You have to do lakshana. If you think it is only ahankara also, still you have to do lakshana. Bhagatya lakshana or jahal lakshana. If you think antakarana itself is its vritti called as aham vritti, that alone jada is called as aham there, then aham brahmasmi won't work. If you understand that as jada, which is not true, because aham brahmasmi, one who hears aham cannot hear if it is only jada. That is another reason. That aham there cannot be jada. Because aham brahma asti is not the pada there. Tinganta pada is asmi. Asmi is chaitanya. They are knowing chaitanya. Not somebody else. It is not some prathama purusha. Aham there is not ahankara. The way ahankara tad ubhayam bibrat atmani bhrantim atmani yachati. There yachati is in prathama purusha. Where aham means ahankara. But here aham does not mean ahankara. Aham is in samanadikaranam. Ting samanadikaranam with asmi. So aham is uttama purusha there, not prathama purusha, not ahankara. So aham being uttama purusha, purushottama, the panchadasha adhyaya, uttama and purusha, you swap it, you will get purushottama, purushottama yoga. So that same Bhagavan Krishna, who is playing the role of Bhagavan Krishna, Ishvara is aham, the jiva, Arjuna, listening, or anyone. So that is the entire Gita Shastra also. So here aham brahmasmi, there aham asmi. Aham is not only ahankara, because it is achetana. Chetana, achetana, both you have to take. If you take only achetana, even if that bhranti is there, you have to do jal lakshana, jahati lakshana. You have to give up that ahankara vritti and ahankara sambandha atma you have to take. Pratibimbita atma you have to take and then land on the mukhya atma through the pratibimba into bimba. But this is not how the process is. That can be, but from jada to ajada is not the, not the lakshana. It is already mixed up. Aham is already mixed up. Atma and atma. So you have to do bhagatyaga lakshana. So this is the entire, introduction with the akshepa to lead into that aham brahmasmi mahavakya vichara, the tvam pada shodhana, which will be with lakshana. So this will be explained. So the setup is for that reason. Aham brahmasmi ityadau tad vachaka is aham vachaka padasya pratyagatmani vrittim akshepa purvam darshayati. Akshepa purvaka akshepaha purva yasmat. So this yasmat, not yasmat, vritti. So their vritti is vrittim darshayati. So you have to say purvakam vrittim. Interesting, he said Purvakam. Okay, in the Samasta Pada it has become Purvakam or Purvikam Vrittim Strilinga. So Yasyaha Vrittehe. So that Vritti here is meaning that is used here. Vritti. What is the Vritti of this Shabda? So there is a Shabda Vritti. Shabda Vritti is what? That's why you say, we explain the Vritti as what? karmani vyutpatti, that vyutpatti vritti meaning. How do you land on the meaning? So here, tad vachaka padasya, vachaka pada is aham. Its vritti is what? Meaning. Pratyagatmani, pratyagatmani vishay. In the way we say, bhu sattayam, sattayam vishay, sattayam vritti. Bhu iti dhato, sattayam vritti. So here, tadvachaka, like the dhatu vritti, similarly here, pratyagatmani vishaye. Sattayam is a vishaya saptami. Here also pratyagatmani vishaye vrittim. This tadvachaka aham shabda also has the meaning that is pratyagatma. Aham can also mean pratyagatma. Yes. How? We'll see that. Akshepa purvakam darshayati. Iha kechir ityadina. In the sambandhokti, iha kechit chodayanti. Akshepanti ityartha. Some raise a doubt here or explain in a particular manner which leads to a doubt. Yaha ayam अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम अनात्मतया उत्सारितः अहंकारः. This very idea, so anatmataya, ahankara is known as anatma. So how? Anvaya vyatirekabhyam. This very aham shabda, ayam aham shabda, this aham shabda, which has been explained as anatma, that ahankara, how? Through anvaya and vyatireka. We have seen anvaya and vyatireka. What continues, what does not continue. Through the analysis, you have landed on ahankara is anatma. Through as anatma. Anatmataya. Ahankara vakyartha pratipatti. How to understand the vakya, whether it is earlier, mamaham janami or aham brahmasmi. In both cases, aham has to be understood. So in mamaham janami, in that vakya, to understand that vakya, through anvaya vyatireka, you have landed on the meaning of it as ahankara. Ahankara, anatma, and ahankara as anatma, sorry. Not ahankara, you have landed on the meaning of ahankara as anatma, not atma. Saha ayam viparitartha samvruttah. Yasmat. Aham brahmasmi iti brahma ayam padarthayo samanadikaranya shravanat. Anatma arthena samanadikaranyam prapnoti. So he says, soyam viparitartha samvruttah. That with anvaya vyatireka, what you have landed on the meaning of aham as ahankara as anatma, aham is ahankara as anatma, not atma, that is contrary to the mahavakya. Why? He says, viparitartha samvrutta. It has somehow, you have somehow landed on the vakyartha which is opposed to the Shruti Tatparya, says the Purvapakshi. Kechit chodayanti. Some Purvapakshi say this. They say that you have gone against your own Vedanta principles. Because aham brahmasmi cannot be ahankara is Brahma. He gives the reason. Yasmat aham brahmasmi iti Brahma aham padarthayoho. The aham and Brahma are padas. Padarthayo samanadikaranya shravanat. Here, I have an issue here, okay? This aham and Brahma padartha is one. They cannot have samanadikaranya. Samanadikaranya samanam adhikaranam yayo. So aham and Brahma, the samanadikaranya is not in padartha, it is in pada. So aham Brahma padayoho it should be said. So I'm just raising a point here. Padarthayo may be a truti here, may be a typo. Because pada samanadikaranyam, padartha samanadikaranyam does not really work. Because padarthas adhikarana is one. Adhikarana is one. So, samanadikarana of the padas, so they are in samanadikaranya. Not padartha samanadikaranya. Padartha has to be one. So, padayoho samanadikaranyam, samanam adhikaranam padartha yayoho padayoho, te samanadikarane. Tayoho bhava samanadikaranam. This is how my understanding is. Padartha samanadikaranam is not used in that manner. If you say Padartha Samanadhikaranam, then you have to say Aham and Brahma. What does it mean? Both should be in the same Adhikarana. So where will Brahma stay? Brahma will not be in any Adhikarana. Brahma is the Adhikarana. That is Atma. That is one single. So therefore, Pada Samanadhikaranam seems more appropriate to me. Thereby, Anatmarthena Samanadhikaranam Prapnoti. Again, Artha has been used here. Or you have to see your meaning of the word. Their Artha, if you say Padarthayo, then you have to take the meaning of the word and then you have to separate the Padartha, real Padartha, Chaitanya separate. Then it is possible. So that may be the usage. Aham Padartha is Ahankara, if you say. Right? Ahankara Dharma you have to take. And Brahmasmi, there you say Chetana Dharma. Then both are in the same Adhikarana. This is how we'll make sense out of this Vakya. Because Anatma Arthena Samanadhikaranim Prapnoti. Otherwise, you land on some jada meaning, okay? Artha is meaning also. Artha is Padartha also, which is actually meaning is the Vastu really. We don't have anything else separate from the meaning. Pada and Padartha means Pada and meaning, word and meaning is the Vastu. But here we have to differentiate and understand meaning and Vastu. If you take differently, then we'll say, if you take the Ahankara Dharma as the meaning, and Brahma as Chaitanya Dharma as the meaning there, they cannot have Samanadhikarana because they both cannot be in the same entity. Or here by Samanadhikarana, you have to say not the, they cannot be same. You have to say they cannot be same. So Samanadhikaranam, there it is not Samana, same only you have to take. Not similar, but same. Anyway, I have a little issue with this understanding. So I'll explain it. Arthata. So we'll say if you take Anatma as the meaning of the word Aham, Ahankara, then Ahankara cannot be in Samanadhikarana with Brahma Shabda. Okay, Shabda. Pada Samanadhikaranam cannot be. So, but that is how it is. Anatma, then Brahma, Chaitanya and Jada, Achetana, Ahankara, both are in Samanadhikaranam, Pada Samanadhikaranam. That is not right. Meaning is opposed to each other. Atma and Anatma, Ahankara and Atma Brahma cannot be in Samanadhikaran because one is Jada, the other is Ajada. One is Chetana, the other is Achetana. You cannot have both as same. Equation is not possible. That's what you have to say. Samanadhikaran is equation won't be possible. Not similarity, equation. Not Samanadhikaran in the sense, Samanadhikaran in the sense equation equal to. That equal to won't work. Vaktavyava pratyagatmani tasya vrittiriti. Therefore, what? Either you have to accept this Ahankara as not the meaning of Aham Shabda, you have to say it is Atma only, then I am right. Purvapakshi says, then I am right. You have the entire set of 10-15 shlokas that you have got, taken to explain this. That is erroneous. You have to accept that Aham means in Mam Aham Janami also you accept that Aham is Atma, Pratyagatma, not Ahankara. Or Va, Vaktavya. It should be mentioned by you. Tvaya Vaktavya. Siddhantina. Tvaya Siddhantina Vaktavya. Tasya Aham Shabdasya Aham Padasya Pratyagatmani Vrittihi Vaktavya. Ka Vaktavya? Vritti Vaktavya. You have to explain how does Aham Brahmasmi work with Aham as in the sense of Ahankara and now suddenly means Pratyagatma. Actually, this question should not arise. If it should not arise in the sense what? One can say, same word can be in different meanings at different times in different vakyas. But here the analysis is starting with that subject-object and then how is it that the object suddenly became the subject here. Therefore, the analysis is valid. Otherwise, it should not come. If any word is in a different meaning elsewhere, it is okay. For example, swam. Swam can mean one's own. It can also mean dhana. Swam can mean dhana. Or the Prasiddha example, other Prasiddha example is what? Saindhava Manaya. So Saindhava Manaya. Saindhava has the meaning of salt as well as horse, Ashwa. So during the Bhojana, if you say Saindhava Manaya, even if the soldier is eating, he is eating food. If the king says, Saindhava Manaya, the soldier is Senapati or whoever, they are not going to bring the horse. If he finishes his food and he is washing his hands and then he says Saindavam, maybe he wants to go start off right away. But contextually, Saindavam can means Lavana, it can mean Ashwa also. So contextually, the word can change. But here the entire analysis is based on the Pratyagatma, whether it is a subject or an object, whether it can be known, how it works with Aham, Mamaham Janami, and then how this Samsarana works. Therefore, this Ahankara is as much is in play because the Ahankara and Aham, Pratyagatma, has Tadatmya Sambandha. Therefore, even in different context, you cannot separate out Ahankara as, as the Shabda, as the meaning of the word Aham, and Atma also as the meaning of word Aham. Therefore, in any context, you have to do a lot of analysis here as to where what Aham Shabda means. Because this is Mukti Karaka, Thampada Shodhana. Entire Samsarana Karana is Ahankara, manifest Ajnana. So here he says, वक्तव्या वा प्रत्यगात्मनि तस्य वृत्तिः तस्य शब्दस्य अहं पदस्य. How did you get this meaning of प्रत्यगात्मा? You have to explain. सोच्यते प्रसिद्ध लक्षणा गुणवृत्तिभिः. So this gauna prayoga, how it is there? Prasiddha lakshana guna vrittivi. So lakshana guna with the prasiddha lakshanas, jad lakshana, ajad lakshana, jad ajad lakshana or bhagatya lakshana, it is being explained as to how aham in aham brahmasmi can mean pratyagatma. How that vritti meaning of the aham shabda can be pratyagatma. This is being shown. Sochate here. So sochate here. The meaning has to be, you have to land with the lakshana on the intended meaning. So sochate is intended meaning. How do you land on intended meaning? That is a krama. So sochate is generally, shodhana is being done, but what is that shodhana? With vichara, you land on the appropriate meaning. Whenever the vachyartha does not make sense, you have to go to lakshartha. So to lakshartha, you have to go to lakshana. Which are the lakshanas possible, which is being used here? That is going to be explained now. Further in the Tika, Lakshana Vrittim Tavad Darshayati. Lakshana Vritti. What is the Lakshana Vritti? He shows that in the 54th verse, Najnyashisham iti. Najnyashisham iti praha Sushuptad Uthitopihi Ayodahadi Vattena Lakshanam Paramatmanaha. So, na Ajnyashisham iti praha सुषुप्ताद उत्थितः अपि हि अयोदाहादिवत सिंगल वर्ड अयोदाहादिवत तेन लक्षणम परमात्मनः. सो लक्षणम देयर इज अ टिप्पण कर्ण व्युत्पत्त्या लक्षकम इत्यर्थ. सो कर्णे व्युत्पत्ति. सो यूज कर्णे व्युत्पत्ति फॉर लक्षणम फॉर द लुट देयर कर्णे व्युत्पत्ति अयः पदस्य वन्नौ जल लक्षणा इति चंद्रिकाकार. सो ओके वन्नौ जल लक्षणा. सो इति प्राह what sushupta utthita api he indeed one who wakes up from sushupti deep sleep, he also utthitaha the waker from deep sleep also indeed praha here is usually says, not said, says. How? Na ajnashisham iti. Oh, I did not know anything. I did not know anything. This is what he says. During deep sleep, I did not know anything. Now, so what? He says, now, in Shushupti, I did not know. What does it mean? This is in contrast to the statement, Mamaham Janami. I know myself in waking. In deep sleep, I did not know anything, including myself. I did not know. So there is an apeksha there. Without the antakarana, you cannot know. Antakarana is resolved in deep sleep. So there is an apeksha of antakarana to know. Without that, knowledge is not possible. So in aham brahmasmi, if aham is pratyagatma, that pratyagatma aham cannot know. Ahankara is needed. So with the ahankara sambandha only aham shabda will work. This is the underlying basis for this statement. Otherwise, there is no connection of Shushupti here. Shushupta Ruttitopi, one who wakes up from Shushupti, he says, I don't know. In waking, he has Antakarana, he can make a claim. In Shushupti, he cannot even make that claim. He makes a claim on waking up that I did not know anything. So there was an apeksha of Antakarana even in deep sleep if he had to know. If he had to know during deep sleep, there is an apeksha of Antakarana that Ahamvritti should come up. It can't come up because Antakarana is folded back in Bijavastha, in Shushupti. So only on waking up he can make a claim. Not that I don't know me now. I know me now. But I did not know myself in deep sleep. So with the Antakarana Sambandha, the knowledge is shown. Knowledge cannot take place without Antakarana. Even to remove the misunderstanding, if that is the Prakriya, Neti Neti Prakriya also needs Antakarana only. You have to kaate se kata nikalte, no? So you have to remove Antakarana using Antakarana only. There is no other tool available. Buddhi is the only tool. Without that, you cannot remove Ajnana also. Removal of Ajnana also is through the Ajnana Karya. We have seen this earlier. Here he says, Ayodahadi vat. Tena Lakshanam Paramatman. Lakshanam here was Lakshana only. Lakshanam ityartha. With the Karane Utpatti Lakshanam. Through this Lakshana only. Through the implied meaning only you can understand. Implied meaning. Paramatmana, implied meaning similarly. Tena. How? Example is in Ayodahadivat. Daha is burning. Ayas is what? Ayas. Sakaranta pada. Ayas is the iron. See, iron rod is used to burn. So in 6th chapter of Chandogya, you see towards the end. So earlier, there was a system. So I'll just, that context is not needed here. But, that the iron burns, this usage is not prasiddha. It is prasiddha only in Shastra. That's why the Shastra example. Ayodaha. The iron rod burns, or you can say Patra also, iron Patra. There's easier example, we don't need to explain. But in 6th chapter of Chandogya, there is a, there used to be some, using mantras, what the king could identify, if somebody is a thief or not. I mean, lie to separate Satya from Asatya. They used to use mantra and then use a iron rod which is heated and burn the person. If the person is lying, he'll get burnt. If he is not lying, then he won't get burned. So with some mantra, there was some usage. So that may be one, Shastriya example. Laukika example is what? The Patra. So generally, a fool like me, when I used to cook, I would use the Patra, heat up something, and use the same Patra for second thing. I wouldn't wash in between. So I want to make tea. So let's say I, heat up water. I say I'll drink hot water and then I'll make tea in that. So you keep the patra, and generally what when you lift the patra, sometimes I would lift the patra directly. Use it. Not with the handle. Okay, not the vessel with a handle. I mean just a stainless steel vessel. So I used to make hot water and then use a plier and then pour hot water and then what? Then make tea. But by that time I would forget that the patra is hot. So you touch it, you burn. So you burn your fingers. But what has really burnt? Has the patra burnt or has the agni burnt? So what really burnt? The stainless steel, if stainless steel can burn you, then it should burn all the time. It does not burn all the time. Therefore, the usage, ayodaha, the patra burnt me. Cause is for in the karta in the sentence ayodaha. What is this? Oh, I burnt my fingers on the pot. You didn't burn your fingers on the pot. You burnt your fingers due to fire, not due to the pot. The pot was heated. The heat transferred itself as though into there is agni sitting there. What burns is agni. Therefore, the steel patra, the ayodaha, the ayas patra, the iron vessel burnt means what? That iron vessel is not which is burning. Agni in the iron vessel is burning. Therefore, there is a lakshana there. You have to say the agni, by that I meant agni. When I mean the pot burnt me, or I was burnt due to pot, I mean I was burnt due to fire. But the usage is what? Oh, I burnt my fingers on the vessel. चाय बनाते समय जल गया, हाथ जल गया. So what not the, you don't put your finger directly into the fire. Hopefully, thankfully, I'm not that dumb. I only burn my fingers on the pot, not the fire directly. Unless, making papad or something, that's a different story. So here, what Lakshana is used. Similarly, ayodahadi vat, adi padena, other things also, hot water burnt me or whatever. So tena lakshanam, paramatmana api lakshanam. Here, atra, in the tena lakshanam paramatmana kutra, aham shabde. Aham shabde ityartha. Aham pade. In aham pada also you have to do lakshana. But here, what is the lakshana there and what is the lakshana to be used here? So it depends. In the example, in the tika, another tika says, well, ayaf padasya vannau jahal lakshana. You have to give up the meaning of the ayan and take the meaning of the vanni, which is sambandha with ayaspatra. Right? With the vessel, the vanni is connected, heat of the vanni. Therefore, you drop the ayaf pada and jal lakshana. Jal lakshana is what? Jahati lakshana. Jahati lakshana is giving up. Ohak tyage. You have to give up the meaning of the mukhyartha tyagena lakshyarthasya grahanam lakshana here. Jal lakshana. So lakshyartha is vanni and ayaf pada is vachyartha. Vachyartha is mukhyartha. So you have to give up the mukhyartha and then take this meaning of the, like what? Gangayam ghosha. So the meaning Ganga means what? Jala pravaha, that nadi pravaha. But giving that main meaning up and you take the meaning of the Ganga tata, there is a settlement of the people there. So there is a group of people on the Ganga means what? On the banks of the Ganga. So you have given up the meaning of the Ganga and taken the meaning of the tata, banks. Similarly here you have given the meaning of ayas and you have taken up the meaning of vanni, therefore jal lakshana. What is the case in the aham brahmasmi? There aham, you have to, it is main lakshana is what? Jad ajal lakshana. You have to give up ahankara adi and keep the Satchidananda. Therefore, bhagatyaga lakshana. You have to give up some part and hold on to the other part. Like what? Soyam devadatta. In Soyam devadatta, you give up the taddesha tatkala vishishta devadatta. In that, you give up the taddesha and tatkala meaning. And in ayam shabda, so ayam devadatta, this ayam also is etat kala etat desha etat kala vishishta devadatta. So etat kala you give up, this kala you give up, this desha you give up. Then the person in that desha and that time and this desha and this time, this place and this time, when you have given up the place and time, what remains is the Shuddha Devadatta Pinda. That entity is one. So that is Bhagatyaga Lakshana. Similarly, here you have to do Bhagatyaga Lakshana, but sometimes Jahati Lakshana may be possible. But here it has not been mentioned. It is possible based on how much is the Vichara of the person. So anyway, we'll hold on to Bhagatyaga Lakshana in the exemplified. In the example, Jahati Lakshana. So further in the Tika, Shushupta avasthayam ahankara abhave api na aham ajnashisham iti kevala atmani aham shabdasya prayoga ayogat. So he says, when you say na aham ajnashisham, I did not know anything then. When you say on waking up, a person who comes out of deep sleep, Shushupta avasthayam ahankara abhave api. There is no ahankara. But still you say what? Na aham ajnashisham. When you say I did not know, even to not know, to know that I did not know, you should know that I did not know. Then only you can recollect. Then also ahankara has to be accepted. Kevala atmani aham shabdasya prayoga yogat. That aham, there is not pratyagatma. You cannot say aham in only with pratyagatma. Therefore, what aham, when it is said, it is never pratyagatma on its own. Only by lakshana it is pratyagatma. So even there, this aham shabda, although in Shushupti, what? Antakarana is not there. Then how will you say na aham ajnash aham? How can you say aham then? Because without antakarana, you cannot use the word aham. Therefore, prayoga yoga, अयो दहति इत्यादौ अवश्यः शब्दस्य दाहके दहने लक्षणया वृत्तिवद् आत्मनि तस्य वृत्तिः उपपद्यते इत्यर्थः. There also you have to do lakshana. In Sushupti also you have to do lakshana. So in Paramatma, there also, here the Sushuptad Utthita api. So Paramatmana, why Paramatmana here? So both can be used there. In Sushupti also you have to do lakshana to land on that aham as pratyagatma, and Paramatma also in the aham shabda you have to land on that mukhya atma or Paramatmana lakshanam. Here Paramatmana is mukhya atmana lakshanam in Sushupti also. Only Sushupti example if you take, then here it is not about aham brahmasmi. So in Sushupti also pratyagatma, to land on the meaning of pratyagatma, where na ajnan shisham, aham is sitting there. Na aham ajnasham. That aham shabda, how does it mean atma? Paramatma is pratyagatma here. How does it mean pratyagatma? It cannot. There also you have to do lakshana. In Sushupti also in aham ajnasham you have to do lakshana. Similarly in the Mahavakya also. But here this Sushupti example is not an example, it is exemplified. Sushupti is an exemplified compared to the Ayodaha example. And Sushupti Lakshana is an example for the Aham Brahmasmi exemplified. You can use it both ways. Here only Sushupti is discussed. Paramatmana is hinting that. In Sushupti Pratyagatma, that's what it means. And in Mahavakya also, for Pratyagatma, you need Aham Shabda to have the Antakarana component also. So this is the idea. Ayo dahati itivad ityadau ayas shabda siddhi. Ayas shabda. What does ayas shabda mean? Iron. So dahake dahane lakshanaya. To say that the to dahaka the burning and the burner, there is lakshana. Lakshanaya vrittivad. Lakshanaya vrittivad. The meaning is only through lakshana. Jha lakshana. Similarly, atmani tasya vrittihi upapadyate. Tasya kasya. There in the Sushupti na ajnayashisham. In that usage, aham shabda tasya aham shabdasya vrittihi atmani. Atmani is paramatmani, that pratyagatmani. Here paramatma is pratyagatma. In the Sushupti case. In the case of aham brahmasmi, you can take it as, again, paramatma is the meaning of the Brahma Shabda, not Aham Shabda. There also Pratyagatma only. Paramatma means Pratyagatma. Here in the 54th verse, okay, Paramatma means Pratyagatma. Therefore, it says Atmani Tasya Vritti Upapadyate. Ityartha, that is the 54th verse. 55th introduction says, Idanim Aham Shabdasya Atmani Gunavrittim Aha Pratyaktvariti. This is the main exemplified. There, Shushupti has been used as a middleman. To say even in Shushupti, Aham Shabda is with, although Antakarana is not there, you have to use Aham Shabda in the meaning of Pratyagatma only via Lakshana. Just like what? Ayodahati. Now, with this using this middleman example, the main exemplified, he is going to say what? Idanim Aham Shabdasya Atmani Gunavrittim Aha. How does Aham Shabda mean Pratyagatma? Never the Mukhyartha. It is always the Lakshartha. Aham Shabda, here Gunavritti. Gunavritti is the secondary meaning, implied meaning. With respect to Atma, Aham Shabda has a Gunavritti, meaning secondary meaning, implied meaning, not the main meaning. Main meaning is via Ahankara only. The Ahankara only. Ahankara Sahita. Ahankara Sahita Pratyagatma. Thereby Pratyaktvad, the verse says Pratyaktvad sukshmatvad atmadrishtyanu ato ato vrittir vihayanya yaham vritya aham yaham vrityopalakshate. So too many conjuncts here. So pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvad. Pratyaktvad, one word. Ati sukshmatvad, another word. Second hetu. Atmadrishti anushilana, third hetu. Single word. Ataha vrittihi vihaya anya hi aham vritya upalakshate. Aham vritya is a single word in Tritiya. Vrittihi is Dvitiya Bahuvachana. So he says, Hetus will see Ataha, what Vrittihi Main sentence is vritti vihaya. Anya hi aham vritti. All the vrittis, bahuvachana. So giving up all vrittis, aham vritti hi upalakshate. Giving up all other meanings. Aham vritti with upalakshate. Through lakshana, upalakshana, with lakshana, you have to land on that aham vritya. Through aham vritya, you have to land on what? Anya aham vritya. Anya hi aham vritya upalakshate. Giving up all other vrittis through aham vritti, you have to land on what? Land on pratyagatma. Because idanim aham shabda se atmani guna vritti maha. It is only through lakshana. That is what he is saying. So why pratyaktvad, ati sukshmatvad, atmadrushti anushilanat? You cannot directly land on aham in the meaning of pratyagatma. Why? It is innermost self. Aham cannot mean the innermost self directly because it is innermost. You have to go from outer to the innermost. So it's a journey. Second is what ati sukshmatva. It is subtle. With aham, you cannot directly land on the meaning of pratyagatma. There's a lot of analysis needed to go to the subtlest level. Understanding subtle takes a while. So directly when you hear aham, you cannot go on the subtlest meaning directly. First meaning that comes to mind is never pratyagatma when you say aham. For everyone, of course, I mean, exceptions can be let out, set aside. So atma drushti anushilanat, and then it follows the atma drushti. Therefore, what atma drushti means? What atma drushti, actually they are in sync. Chaitanya is overlapped onto the ahankara. Ahankara is overlapped into the Chaitanya. They are tied together. So there is anushilana, following. Who follows whom? So based on your analysis, who follows whom? Whether aham is following antakarana or antakarana is following aham, both ways. But here atmadrushti anushilnat, we'll see more in the tika what the meaning is. Here it is only upari upari. Just the basic meaning in the shloka is this. Atmadrushti anushilana. Kasya, he says vrittihi vihaya. Anya. So anyaha, if you anyaha vrittihi, if you take, then bahuvachana. Anyaha vrittihi vihaya. If you take with anya singular, then he aham vritya. But here anyaha, this should be bahuvachana. So anyaha vritti, because there is aham vritya is tritiya here. Anya hi aham vritya upalakshate. So anya upalakshate, or anya can be in singular. Anya aham vritya anya upalakshate. Anya, you will have to say finally Chaitanya. We'll see what he does in the tika further. We'll see tika in the next part. यस्साक्षात् सच्चिदानंदं प्रत्यगद्वयमक्रियं तन्नमामि रस्य योगी गम्यं परम पदम. नमस्ते, धन्यवाद. Any questions?
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.